Okay, so this is just a quick video to introduce you to Excel and show you how to enter your data and do the basic calculation of the absorption. So Excel is a spreadsheet. It's got lots of little squares in it like this that we call cells. And you can move between the cells using the arrow keys on your keyboard. And also you'll find that if you use the Enter key, it moves you down. If you use the Tab key, it moves you right. Shift Enter moves you up, and Shift Tab moves you left. Okay. And what we're going to do here is we're going to put our data into the columns A to D. So in the first column A, we're going to put how much Ribena we put into each glass. And in B, C, and D, we're going to put the red, green, and blue values that we measured using our phone. So in square A2 here, I'm going to type teaspoons of Ribena. That. And if I grab the little border between A and B at the top there, I can drag that and make that column a bit wider. Because it's a heading, I'm going to make it bold by highlighting it and then clicking on the B button at the top. So teaspoons of Ribena there. And then underneath, I'm going to type 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3, because that's how much Ribena I put in my experiment. And then into cell B1 there, I'm going to type measured RGB values. Again, I'm going to click on the B up there to make that bold. Work. Let's try it again. Select it. Bold. There we go. R in that one, G in that column, B in that column. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the values that I've measured. After I've put each one in, I can move to the next cell by using Tab. When I reach the end of a line like that, if I hit Enter, it will take me back to the start of the next empty cell. Okay, so that's all my data entered there like that. And what I'm going to do next is show you how to make the spreadsheet convert these values here into the absorption values that we need. So I'm going to put those over here in columns F, G, and H. So let's put a heading, absorption. And if you remember, the formula for absorption equals minus log I divided by I naught. Okay. So let's make that bold because that's a heading. That. And also this naught, this 0, should be a subscript. So if I highlight it just there by selecting it, and I click this little arrow on the font menu there, I get this pop-up window. I can go subscript, and click OK, and that will subscript for me. So now if I hit enter, you can see I've got absorption equals minus log I over I naught. And then in the 3 cells underneath, I'm going to type red, green, and blue. Oops, there we go. Okay. So what I need to do is tell the spreadsheet to calculate the absorption. So I'm going to do that by first typing in an equals, and that tells it that a sum is coming and it needs to do that sum. And type in minus log. When I do that, I get this little pop-up menu of functions here. If I double click on the top one, it knows it's got to do a log calculation. Now in this case, I, the light that's coming through, is the value in this cell here. So I'm going to click on that cell there, and it puts B3 over here for me. And then I want to divide that by I naught. Now I naught is the amount of light that goes through the solution if there's nothing in there to absorb it. And that is also the same value. It's in B3. Because remember, this is the one with no Ribena in. This is the one that's just water. But I'm going to make one extra change here, and that's before that second 3, I'm going to type in a little dollar sign, and you'll see why that is in a minute. So when I hit enter, it does the sum and returns the answer, which in this case is 0. Okay, that's the correct sum. So I need to do the same sum for all of these squares underneath to correspond to all of these measured red values over here. And I could do that by typing the equation into each of these boxes individually, but there's a much quicker way of doing it. So if I put my cursor over the little square in the bottom right hand corner there, you'll see it changes. So if I click the left mouse button and drag down, the rectangle is extended. And then when I let go of the mouse button, it does the calculation for all of those squares as well. So what it's done is it's copied the formula from this first square there, which you can see up here, into the next square down. And it knows what it's doing because in this square here it's divided B3 by B3, but in this one here it's divided by B4 by B3, which is what we want to do. In this case, this is I, this is still I0. And it's done that all the way down. It's divided whatever value is in this cell here by I0, which is always this one here. Next, what we want to do is do the same calculation for green and blue. So what we can do is we can select these values here by holding the left mouse button down as we drag down. Then if I grab the square again with the left mouse button, drag right, it will copy the sum into these columns here. But because it's a spreadsheet program, it knows that in this column here it's using the values from column B. But in this one here, because that's one column to the right, it's using the values from column C, look. And this cell here, it's using the values from column D, because they're the ones corresponding to blue. So what we've done there is copied the formula and put the right formula in all of these cells over here. So we've calculated the absorption for each of these concentrations of Ribena. So that's the first stage done. That's what we needed to do.